inside Putin's secret $1 billion mansion. If there's one person that cannot be predicted, it has got to be Russian President Putin. Is he going to stay in power? Is he going to start a war? Or is he going to own an expensive secret mansion? The answer to these questions is yes. You probably knew about the war crisis, but did you know that VP had a $1 billion mansion in secret? We bet you didn't. This man is good with secrets and explains how he secretly planned an attack on Ukraine. Well, we're here to give you the inside scoop on this luxurious palace. Welcome back to our channel, and in today's video, we take you inside Putin's secret $1 billion mansion. So sit tight and prepare to have your mind blown. Let's get right into it. Before we get to this overly expensive house, let's start with the man that owns it first. The man, the myth, and the warlord, Vladimir Vladimirovich Putin, popularly known as just Vladimir Putin, but we call him VP because we're on nickname level now, who's a former intelligence officer and current president of Russia. VP has been president since 2012 and even held the position previously from 1999 to 2008. Putin was also prime minister for a couple years and is the second longest current serving European president after Alexander Lukashenko of Belarus. Of course, and in case you're not familiar with this Spanish, just know he's the man that tried to start a nuclear war just so he could take over a country. Major narcissist vibes, right? Bad boy Putin is one of the most powerful and influential men in the world. Explains how he started likely war and somehow tried to make it look cool. But Putin has made sure his private life stays private from the public and keeps a lot of things secret, including his family, assets, and wealth. But somehow, someone still finds a way to unravel things like this. Putin is known to be one of the richest men in the world, but nobody knows the exact net worth of this man. The president is said to earn around $147,000 a year, but we're quite sure that this doesn't include all his wealth and assets. The president has been photographed wearing a lot of costly rich watches, valued at $700,000, which is nearly 6 times his salary. And he has even been known to give watches valued at thousands of dollars as gifts to his workers. How? All with a salary of $147,000. Mind-boggling. Very little is known about Mr. President's property portfolio, but images have been leaked by Alexei Navalny's Anti-Corruption Foundation, FBK, nearly 500 in number, showing never-before-seen pictures of the interior of Putin's secret palace. It happens to be the most controversial of all his properties, maybe because it's estimated to be worth $1 billion. A whole freaking $1 billion. It is called the Gelendzhik Palace, but Putin's palace is catchier. This magnificent structure is located on a peninsula on the Black Sea coast, and the Italian estate recently made a bunch of headlines after anti-corruption activist Navalny leaked photos of its interior. Let's be clear, this was after bad boy Putin tried to start the Third World War. The anti-corruption team also said that the palace at the Black Sea coast is 39 times the size of Monaco. We know it'll be difficult, but try to pick your jaw off the ground. That is one mind-blowing fact. The palace includes a casino, a wine cellar, rooms with royal interiors, a huge marble swimming pool designed with busts of Greek gods, a theater, and other extravagantly designed amenities likened to the style of Louis XV, and a hookah lounge with a pole for dancing. We're just getting started, and this place already screams elegance. Photos of the expensive 11-bedroom palace show that the mansion is decorated with tons of double-headed eagles, which happens to be the symbol of the Russian state, covered in gold. Outside the mansion, there are several helicopters, landing pads, a vineyard, an unfinished amphitheater, a security house, formal gardens, and a arboretum, a Byzantine-style inspired church, a sculpture garden, and of course, an underground hockey rink, because Mr. President is a big hockey fan. The palace is the largest private residential building in Russia with over 190,000 square feet of space, according to FBK, and is surrounded by a no-fly zone to prevent anyone trying to get a top view of the king's luxurious palace. We know that due to the Russia and Ukraine crisis, a lot has been told about Putin due to the spotlight on him now, but you probably didn't know about all of this. A narcissist genius with good taste in design. Some may say one gifted man perhaps. The video also shows a 260 feet long bridge that connects to a 27,000 square feet guest house, and fencing that makes sure no one can even get a slight peek of the plush mansion. The palace compound even has a freaking gas station and a special tunnel inside the mountain with a tasting room. At this point, the only color I see is green. The main building of this magnificent mansion also contains a spa, beautiful arrangement, saunas, meat and fish, vegetable and dessert shops, Turkish baths, a warehouse, a music lounge, a cinema, a reading room, and a dozen guest bedrooms, with a master bedroom that is 260 meters in size. The master bedroom has an opulent interior that's just fit for a president. And did we mention that this luxurious house is designed by Italian architect Lanfranco Cirillo, who designs properties for many of Russia's billionaires and oligarchs? Well, now you know. One of the FBK members in the video that explains everything about Vladimir Putin's secret opulent palace said, "The striptease hall, hookah, call it what you want, really exists. And it looks much worse than we could imagine." You might be wondering, why there be a striptease hall in a president's house? Sadly, so are we. Alexei Navalny is a Russian politician and serious critic of Putin, who is presently in jail in Moscow for charges he claims were politically driven. Navalny alleges that President Putin had the Black Sea residence built secretly using illicit funds from his fellow rich friends. Alexei Navalny, who is a founder of the Alexei Navalny Anti-Corruption Foundation and a major activist against corrupt practices in Russia, alleged that the mansion's compound, which is protected against the public under a no-fly zone, was built for President Putin's personal use, a claim that Mr. Putin has denied severally. Putin might have denied his involvement in the mansion, but the leaked photos and video on the internet and his regular drop-by just goes a long way to prove Navalny right. Although, we bet you didn't know that the story of Putin's palace started over a decade ago. The structure first came to public attention back in 2010 after a whistleblower, Sergei Konashenkov, published an open letter to the then president of Russia, Dmitry Medvedev, exposing the construction of the expansive mansion. Sergei also stated that it was run by Nikolai Shamalov, who was acting on behalf of Putin. Alexander Ponomarenko was later reported to be the owner of the property. The mansion later drew more substantial attention from the public in 2021, when Navalny released an investigative documentary film about the mansion, which gave details of a corruption scheme headed by President Putin. After Putin denied ownership of the palace, the Kremlin, like the Russian White House, said that the palace was a private venture which belonged to various businessmen whose names were to be kept anonymous by the state. After the release of the documentary film, Arkady Rotenberg, who just happens to be close to Vladimir Putin, came up and claimed ownership of the mansion. Fishy, we know. Aside from Putin's secret, expensive, and luxurious palace, there are other properties of his which are quite remarkable, like his house, the Grand Kremlin Palace. The Grand Kremlin Palace is located in western Moscow and has been the official residence of Russia's president since the year of 1991. The place is adorned with glittery grand architecture, lavish and posh decorations. The palace is still located within the Kremlin complex in Moscow. It is located in the Cathedral Square of Moscow. The structure is surrounded by 1.5 miles of walls that are made up to 21 feet thick to make sure everything is protected. The Kremlin Palace is guarded by a special military regiment called the Presidential Regiment. and the fortified structure stretches over 68 acres of land, with about 20 towers, 15 buildings, and a garden as a cherry on the cake. And although the president's estate might bear the general public, visitors and tourists can take a tour of historical buildings and the museum. Since the Kremlin Palace also served as the home of Russian kings and presidents, the luxury can be seen in its royally decorated interior. The Kremlin Palace was perfectly designed by the chief architect master Konstantin Thon, and Emperor Nicholas was later involved in the architectural design of the beautiful Kremlin Palace. Another of President Putin's luxurious houses is in the Bakharov Ruki. This is one of the most publicized and talked about houses in his list of houses. It is located in Sochi and is properly known as Daka Putin. The Bakharov Ruki is another enormous residence owned by the president that stretches across 40 acres of land. Bad boy Putin might have hosted several world leaders and elites at his exquisite palace, but the Daka Putin has become an official summer residence of Mr. Putin. The Daka Putin has several mouth-watering features and huge rooms that are more than enough to accommodate the president. However, due to the Ukraine crisis caused by Putin ordering bombs on them in a bid to take over, the EU might freeze the assets of Putin and Russian ministers over the attack in Ukraine, and this might cause a brief pause in their extravagant lifestyle. Ouch! Maybe next time, try not to start a war, Mr. President. Well, that's all for today's video. What do you think of this humongous house and the man who owns it? Make sure to let us know in the comment sections below. Hope you enjoyed watching. Make sure you like and subscribe to our channel for more amazing content. See you in the next video.